Americans, it's your girl Niadi, aka Mighty Intellectual, aka y'all already know the rest. Join me as we travel to and through the African continent as we learn more about the languages, the culture, and why so many African Americans are deciding to repatriate back to Africa. If that is of interest to you, then you need to keep watching. Yeah, okay, so we have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Andir, so I'm gonna actually let her introduce herself very quickly and then we'll get into the interview.
Yeah. Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Andir Ganga. I am a journalist by profession and a YouTuber on the side, and I moved to Ghana in July of 2021, and I'll be celebrating my second year anniversary in Ghana this year.
2 years.
Yes, that's all about me. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about matters, travel, life and love. Sometimes I travel and make content across Ghana showcasing the beauty of the place. I also make content about life in Ghana, and sometimes I make content with my husband.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be here for 2 years?
It's a roller coaster. It's like a valley of death. There are really good days. The good days. When I was new in Ghana, I would ask people who've been here for a long time, and I would ask them, how is it being here? And they said the good days are extremely good.
Yeah.
And then the tough days will really test you to the core and make you question why you even moved here and if you can stay here. So it's been that roller coaster, but the more you live here, the more you find that balance. Like just the incident that happened when I was coming. So if I was new, it would have shaken me, but now because you learn these people, you learn their culture, you learn how they live, and you learn how to find a balance. So you'll still go through the roller coaster, but how you react to it is very, very differently. Yeah.
So what's one thing Ghana has taught you?
It has taught me a lot of patience, the good patience, and the patience that is borderline tolerance or accepting nonsense. Because that's just how it is. Patience in the sense that when I come from Nairobi. We call Nairobi, Kenya, low budget New York. Everybody is always on the run. Everybody is like, it's very fast paced. I dare say, maybe with the exception of Nigeria, Lagos and Abuja, Nairobi is one of the most fast paced city on the continent. And Kenyans are always on the move, on the rush. They're hustling, they're grinding, no time for friendship, no time for nothing. It's just work, 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 work.
Wow.
At least for the many people that I know, it's a brutal battle of survival. And so you become very agitated, you lose patience, you're very short-tempered, because all these things mess with you, you understand? And because you're working so hard, you want things to keep moving, and when they don't move, they frustrate you. And when I came here, that's not how they live.
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
like
how
slow
they
pace.
live.
Yeah,
They've slowed things down, and it has its pros and cons. Its pros is that they prioritize the things that matter. Family matters, rest matters, things like taking care of your well-being, spirituality matters. Over the weekend, you go to the beach, it's flooded. They're there at the beach. You go to the mall. It's the first time that I went to the mall and I found people just taking pictures and just chilling. Like, I know that you go to the mall to shop and get out, you know. So it teaches you that these people value rest, they value family, they value bonding and all these things. And then on the flip side,
that's what I was about to say. So what about the other side?
On the flip side, it will test you. It will really push you to the core, because
hey family, I am interrupting this video for a great reason, okay? I know you've been seeing Brafier all on my channel. I know you've seen it everywhere. Well, Brafier means come home in a Ghanaian language called Twi. It's my sentiment to the diaspora. I want everyone to experience the magical feeling of peace and belonging that I felt on my very first trip to Ghana, West Africa. Are you interested in traveling to the African continent, but you just don't know where to start? You don't know who to trust on the ground, don't know how much things cost. You really just don't know. But I know. Really want to take that first trip to the motherland to reconnect with your ancestral land. Okay, so that's where we come in. My name is Niadi. I am your host for your first tour to Ghana, West Africa. At Brafier Tours, we create culturally based and service-based experiences for you for your first trip to Ghana. So that you're not only traveling to Ghana for the first time, but you experience Ghana and the culture and all that it has to offer. You're not just able to soak up the beauty of the country, but you're also able to give back in a meaningful way. I can remember my first trip being very nervous about even planning it and not knowing where to start. My first trip to Ghana was in June of 2021. I planned the whole thing. Luckily, I found this super dope Facebook group that led me to my first Ghanaian tour guide who would become a long-time friend. Now, if I didn't have that tour guide for my first trip, I don't know that it would have been as magical and transformative as it was for me. I felt more confident in myself. I wanted to start a business. I had more pride in being black and being from Africa and my ancestry. I want that experience for you. I know you may not know where to start. I know you may not know what to do, but that's where I come in. I plan the entire trip for you from rooter to tutor, and I will be your host on the ground, okay? Don't forget to check us out. Email us at brothiertours@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or concerns that you have, and let's prepare for your first trip to Ghana. Bye.
You order for a ride, somebody will not tell you they're coming, or they tell you they're coming, they cancel. And I'm like, bro, like, where's the courtesy? Or somebody, so somebody is supposed to do a job for you, and they tell you it will take a day, it's dragging on to 3 days, and they're like, can we wrap this up? Or somebody's supposed to do something, yet they're not in a rush, or they're not in a haste, or they're not giving it 100%, and you're like, bro, what is it? You know? Or somebody is running late and they don't have the courtesy to tell you, hey, it's 30 minutes or it's an hour late. They'll keep you there for an hour, 2, 3. There was a time I waited for a client for 4 hours, and that's when I said, I'm not doing this anymore.
4 hours?
4 hours. And I said, if I'm meeting you at 2, I begin billing you from 2 to 3 p.m. and I will bill you whether you show up or not. There's a day I went for a work shoot, and the person I was interviewing had asked the makeup artist to come so that they do their makeup before the interview. We got there at about 1. The interview was to start at 2. The makeup artist had another gig booked for 4, and she was like, I can't be late. That's why I came early to do her makeup and then go. 1 p.m. she wasn't there. 2 she wasn't there. 3 she wasn't there. The PA kept saying, just wait for her, just wait for her, she's on her way. At 3:30 this lady is like, I can't be late for my next appointment. And so she's like, I'm leaving. And the guy was like, I'm so sorry. And the lady said, no no, you're not sorry, I'm gonna bill you,
because you would have been on time.
I'm gonna bill. The lady wasn't there. It was the PA who was apologizing on her behalf. She hadn't even texted the makeup artist to say, hey, I'm sorry. Nothing. And so the makeup artist said, I'm gonna bill you for the time that and the PA was like, but you didn't do makeup. And she was like, I was here. If she was here, she would have gotten her makeup done, so I'm gonna bill you. The guy was like, let me reimburse your transport. She was like, it doesn't work like that. And it's so nice to see even the locals are beginning to say, if you waste my time, I'm gonna bill you for it. But there are things that just test your patience, or people are not outrightly honest with you and they're trying to rip you off, or like just not taking advantage of your inability to figure out how the system works. For example, like when you're looking for a house, the landlord will not tell you, even if that area floods, they will not tell you that this area floods, because they know if they tell you this area floods, you're not going to take the house. I know of someone who got a really nice house in Asylum Down. Unfortunately, Asylum Down, some parts of it flood during the rainy season.
And if they know you don't know,
and so they gave them the house. And unfortunately, it was a 2-story building, so the down part, she made it her business, and then she was living upstairs. When it flooded, her whole business was swept away. Of which I even wish that the landlord would have said, it floods sometimes. Maybe the lady would have said, maybe the lady would have taken the house but lived downstairs, because it's a couch, it can get cleaned. And put some things in place so, you know, the business wouldn't get flooded, right? Maybe she would have put the business upstairs, because the house, whatever happens to it, you can get dry cleaners and people to clean it, but your business, you'll have to be closed for days and all that stuff. So it takes patience, almost borderline tolerating bullshit. Because in December, I saw a certain video circulating online of a lady holding a glass up and saying they served her in a dirty glass. I don't know if you saw the video.
No, I haven't. And but I'm not
she's like, the glass is dirty, like you served me in a dirty glass. And Charlemagne the God also shared a similar experience of some sort, where he says a restaurant invited him to go and sample and maybe take some pictures and promote them food food took more than 2 hours to come out.
Wow, that customer service.
There are those things that will test you and push you to the core and make you question, why am I here? But also there are certain things that just reaffirm the reason why you came back.
I actually had an experience with a boat driver recently who, when I came, I already know, like, I'm gonna look at my app to see how much it costs, but I just asked them for kicks and giggles to see if they're gonna give me the real price, and he gave me a price that was not real, and he kept the, I guess he had like a picture,
a screenshot.
Yes, y'all, so beware. He hadn't ended the trip, and I asked him if he had, and I was like, yeah, on my phone it's not ending, and he was like, check your data, maybe it's your data. It wasn't my data, he just kept it running. So it's stuff like that, like, you just have to beware, and like she said, it requires patience. So my question to you then is, like, how do you deal with that? You know, because there are certain things here. While Ghana is very beautiful, I love Ghana, I love y'all, but there are things, you know, that we can work on. So how do you deal with things like that as far as your patience?
I think you decide what your irreducible minimums are and what you're going to tolerate. So for example, eating out, I've done enough experiments, and I'm not going to go to a place where, first of all, I know better than to go out when I'm hungry. If you're hungry, just go home and cook, because it's going to take the same amount of time to get the food out as it would have taken you to cook at home. So I'm very careful, because because if you're hungry and you go out and they're not bringing out your food, then it ruins your mood, because you're hungry and they're pissing you off, and it's so hectic. So I don't go out when I'm extremely hungry, or I go to joints like KFC, fast food joints that, you know, food is being churned out very quickly.
And the KFC here is actually really good. It's not that good in the States. I don't eat KFC in the States, but I tried it here for the first time, and it's like,
and then I also know particular restaurants where the service is good. Thank God that now foreigners are beginning to get into the business, and they're raising the bar step by step, be it the quality of service, be it the quality of the food, be it the ambience of the place. So there's certain restaurants where you'll find me at, and then there's certain restaurants, catch me dead, you'll not find me at those restaurants. Because also sometimes the good restaurants where you get basic service, not even good service, basic service, because a clean table is basic service, clean cutlery is basic service, good food.
I found out bathroom is not basic service. That's like a fancy restaurant.
A clean one with running water. It's basic. Then they'll charge you like 500 or 1,000 cedis for a plate of, and then I'm like, it's not worth it, honestly. Because if you're coming to visit and maybe you want that one-off experience, it's fine. But if you live here, then you cannot afford to be burning cash like that.
That's the thing.
So I just know, like, my reducible minimums. For example, when it comes to work, I don't work with just any other person, and I will not hesitate. I'm not lying to you. I'm not going to look bad in front of my client. I'm not going to fail to deliver because you've decided that you're going to do work at your own pace. So I will reach out to you. I tell you this is what you're doing. If I get a slight indication that you're not going to deliver, that's it. That's it. So there are things that there are irreducible minimums. Like, if you want to play with me again in the total, the mate is trying to rip me off a CD or two, I don't mind. But like,
I mind.
No, because you have to pick your battles.
Pick and choose.
You know, if I go to the market and you try to bargain and you see they're playing with you, then this is it's my husband that goes shopping, because now you can't be messing with my monthly budget. If you lose 50 CDs every time you go to the market, it adds up. So now he's the one that does it. But my reducible minimums are work. When it comes to work, I'm very particular with the team that I work with, because it's not just patience, it's money we are talking about. Again, now I know better. Like, my lease expires in July, so the next time I'm looking for a house, there are irreducible minimums that I'm not going to play with. I will come there before I pay for the house. I will come so many random times to just open the tap and test if the tap is flowing on random occasions, so that you don't, because sometimes they tell you come on a particular day because they know that day the tap is flowing. So you open the tap, it's flowing, and then the day you move in, you realize maybe the tap just flows that one time,
that day. And
sometimes if your landlord is a distant one, he has a tank, but you still have to go fetch water outside. Sometimes they don't, so you have to figure out your own way or buy jerrycans. You know, I will come so many random times to check if there's electricity, because the first 6 months I nearly went back home, because almost every other day, like, if I have electricity today, tomorrow evening I won't have electricity, or during the day. So during the day it was bearable because I go to work in a restaurant, but at night you can't sleep because it gets very very hot.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
And if you have food in the fridge, then it goes bad.
Yeah.
So I will ensure that I know that you have electricity. I want to know if the area floods. I want to know security is not a big concern because Ghana is relatively very safe, you know,
when you're using your common sense.
Yes, yeah. So there are those things. To live here, you just need to know what are your irreducible minimums, things that you're not willing to compromise, and then all the other things, the goalpost, we can move it. These days, if I'm meeting a Ghanaian and they say, oh, I'll come at 2, I'll come at that 2, but I'm not expecting you to get there at 2.
Right.
You know?
But you're not coming at like 6 either.
No.
Because I'm not waiting until like 6 p.m.
What I do is, particularly with friends or stuff like that, you understand that this is how they are.
Yeah.
They take their time when they're doing things, and that's okay. And I'm gonna give you the space to do your thing, that it doesn't get to me, it doesn't make me mad, because then I realized I was taking offense at the slightest of things. Why did you keep me waiting? You don't respect my time. You really don't. They don't say it like that. They're like, why didn't you call me before leaving the house? Then I would have told you I wasn't ready. I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
It's funny because it's like you think that people, I know this happened to me too, like coming here, you think that like, oh, people think like me, they look like me, we brothers and sisters. No, like I feel like the country that you grow up in, we don't realize this, it really has a huge effect on how you move, the way you speak, the way you think. And that was one of the things I did not really realize coming to Ghana and Africa in general. It's like, we might look alike, but we don't think alike. And it can be okay, but then there are also things, like you said, where it's like, okay, can we change some things? Can we like grow a little bit? But there are a lot of people who I've heard when people speak on the negative things about Ghana, they're like, well, why do you come here? Why are you here? But it's like, you can love a place, but still you love it so much you want to see it grow. So speaking on the things that need to be, you know, worked on isn't saying I don't love the country, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you feel like it's been worth it coming here from Kenya? And we'll get back to Kenya too. Do you feel like it's been worth it for you?
Honestly, I think just like you said, there are 2 sides to every coin, and 2 things can exist at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to piggyback on what you said, when I would share my experience, my authentic, real, true experience of being in Ghana, I would get attacked a lot online. I'd be asked, why did you come here? Go back to your country. You're always spreading negative news about the continent. Why don't you learn a thing or two from people like Wademaya who are selling positive stories? And I'm like, guys, all the times I talk about the positive things, you guys are here celebrating it, and I do not necessarily talk about the challenges from a point of painting the place negatively. One, people are still relocating here. They need to know what they're getting themselves into, you know? Irrespective of how many times we talk about rent, you will still meet somebody who relocated here and they tell you, I didn't know rent was paid annually. You know, I didn't know that my landlord was trying to move the goalposts when they had my accent and realized that I'm a foreigner and they're trying to increase my rent, you know? I didn't know that the house is just not necessarily yours. Your landlord still wants to sort of have a chokehold on who comes into your house. My landlord had an issue with my husband coming to my house.
Wow.
My freaking husband.
Wow.
He's like, I don't know him. And I said, but I've paid you. Yes, I know him and I've paid you. Like, I don't have a relationship with you. The relationship is landlord tenant.
Yes.
And I've honored that relationship. Yes, that is where it ends. So why are you in my business? People do not know these things. People do not know that sometimes there's so much bureaucracy when you go to try to apply for your paperwork, and it can really frustrate you. People don't know that there are really evil people out here that can rob you off of your money, you know? People do not know that sometimes when you come here as a foreigner, to get a job can be hard because you want to be paid a certain amount that reflects your worth, but that is not how it works here. People paid very little money, $100, $200. If you paid $500 or $1,000 by a local, you're like in senior management or something like that, you know?
A month.
Yes. So you see, these are things that when you talk about it, people think you're trying to paint the place in bad light, but in essence you're just trying to tell the people who are coming that I hope you know that the fairy tale is true, but every rose has its own thorn. So come fully prepared for what is gonna hit you, you know? So I think for me it's been a bittersweet experience. It's been good to get out of Nairobi and slow down, because it taught me that life doesn't stop when you fail. You know?
No, it doesn't.
And failure is not that fatal.
Yeah, it's not.
If you're at a place where everything is a milestone and we are so obsessed with success and work and paycheck after paycheck and bill after bill, then you lose sight of every other thing that life could be. You know, these people saying, I'm close, I'm going home, I'm close. They haven't lost sight of the fact that it's so amazing to sit down with your family and have a meal. They haven't lost sight of that. I can't remember, maybe save for the weekends when I was working in Kenya, I can't remember a weekday that I had either breakfast, lunch, or dinner with my family.
Really?
I would leave the house so early and come back when everybody is asleep. Yes, you have the money, you have the security and all that stuff, but that's all that you have.
Yeah, and you're working to pay to work.
Yeah.
To pay to work.
And you're so scared of even spending the money because you're like, what if it's like you're on a constant state of alert, you're always fighting.
Call it the rat race. Yeah.
You know, when I began going to therapy, my therapist would say, unclench your face, relax your jaw, because like you're ready. And when I'm here,
let me unclench my
because you're ready. And when I got here, I had to tell myself, relax, what are you running away from? What are you chasing so aggressively, you know? And it has taught me how to slow down and live life, and the value of just eating together, the value of going to the bed, the value of dedicating time to go to church. I've gone to church several times in Ghana. They're the happiest in church. They dance, they sing.
They love some church.
It's like during that time, nothing else exists, and it's an outlet for them, and it's a way for them to just be and breathe, and a good break from the chaos of life. So that bit has been fantastic. Also very important to mention that I wouldn't have risen as first in my career if I was in Nairobi. It's very cutthroat, and also because the people know you, they feel like, but we know you're still very young, you still have a long way to go. But when I came here, because they do not know me, all they could do is judge me on merit.
Oh, okay.
And because on merit I had qualified to be an editor, I was made an editor. Yet in Nairobi there was an editor opening, and when I wanted to apply to it, they said, oh, you know, you're really good at your role, the organization even won't allow you to leave that. It was bullshit, obviously. I believed it then, but it was nonsense. But here I got to become an editor, and it has opened me up to like really fantastic opportunities.
Okay, so what do you do? Because a lot of people are interested in like moving here or living here, whether they're coming from the West or they're coming from another African country. What are we doing to make money? What are we doing for work here?
I had come earlier on and I had had conversations with several media houses, but they had said it's difficult to have a conversation with you because you're based in Kenya. If you're here, then it's easier. So when I moved, it was just a matter of picking up the conversation where we left it. And the pay.
Is it not good?
Guys, even my first job, like immediately after uni, my entry-level job, I was being paid a lot more money than I was being paid as a business editor.
Wow.
Yeah, but there's just two ways to look at it. It doesn't pay, but if you know what to do with that opportunity, then it can open you up to a lot more. Now, also a lot more is very relative, because here money and opportunities are concentrated in certain circles. So it has to take somebody in that circle to walk you in the door and let you in. But from my experience, that did not happen. Why they were hesitant, I don't know. I thought all I have to do is just put my best foot forward, work. The people that supported me were not necessarily the people that worked with me. Yeah, the people that worked with me had the ability to help me get to where I wanted, but they did not necessarily do that. So it's also like a game of chess. And here, career-wise, I saw it in the newsroom where people are like, you have to suffer the way I suffered so that you can get there. And I don't believe in that. Yeah, I believe in merit. Like if I'm good, I'm good. I've already done my time. You know, struggles are very different. Maybe your struggle meant you had to walk 10 kilometers. Maybe my struggle means that I have to work more hours. The other person's struggle means they're constantly looking for courses online to educate themselves. It takes money, it takes time. They're not sleeping, they don't have a social life to improve themselves. So my struggle or my pursuit for success doesn't have to look the same as yours for you to feel like I'm doing enough or I've done enough for you to help me. So there's that. But I have been able, all the opportunities that I have gotten, or even some of the jobs that maybe I apply to and people pay attention to me, is because I have written the business editor, of which is something that I got to do here. Did I make the most out of it? Not necessarily, because I was fairly new, and it would have helped if somebody was helping me, introduce me to people and help me. Be that as it may, I've tried to make the most out of it with what I can where I am. Money wise, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, industry that I work in, it's not good. In the media industry, it's not necessarily good, but I know that some people who hire foreigners give them really good terms, you know, and also you can easily attach yourself to some of the internet multinational organizations that work here, so that you're paid as an expert, and then your life becomes very easy. Because if you're paid as an expert, they pay for your house, they educate your kids, they give you a housing allowance of between like $1,000 to $3,000 as your monthly housing allowance, you know, and then they pay you, they'll educate your kids. African Union, the UN, all these guys.
This is a business editor.
No, all jobs. If you get hired as an expert, particularly with international organizations, then they're going to take very good care of you. But if you're just hired by a local organization, they'll try to take care of you as much as they can, but you get it. You get it?
But
if you don't get it,
say somebody here on the continent who may want to get into media, what like advice would you give them, considering everything that you've kind of gone through?
I think with the media is you just really need to know what you want to do when you get in. Are you do you want to touch yourself to the business desk, entertainment desk, sports desk, general news? Then you need to know here, forget taking your papers and stuff. You need to know who you're going to talk to. So ensure you get a meeting with the right person, you pitch, and if your pitch goes well, that's it.
So here it's like not what you know necessarily, is who you know, as far as like
they go hand in hand, because you might know the right person and they might get you through the door, but if you don't have the experience to keep you in that door, then you won't last long enough.
That's good stuff. Okay, is there anything else you're doing outside of like media to provide for yourself here?
Okay, so I do YouTube.
Yes.
So I'm a YouTuber and I make content online. So that's how like I try to supplement my income. But this year I'm really thinking through a lot of things, even just online. How do I become more aggressive? How do I put myself out there? How do I make money? How do I elevate my career to the next level? And also probably Ghana might not be the final destination. So I might go back home or consider Europe or America, because irrespective, I think we are really young. And we deserve a place where you can aggressively work and save enough so that your future is guaranteed, you know. Peace when you're hungry doesn't count for nothing.
Peace when you're hungry doesn't count for nothing.
Because you'll die of hunger.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
You know?
Yes.
You know?
Broken happy.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I don't want to be broken happy.
You can't be broken happy.
Can I be rich and happy?
If we're being honest, if we're really being honest,
money
cannot
helps.
be broken happy.
But money helps. You can be broke and you can be content, like grateful. You can be grateful, but I just feel like...
Have you ever been broke?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Were you grateful?
Yes. I definitely, I'm a person who I always look for like the lessons and things. So yes, I was grateful. Not saying that I was like, yes, I'm broke. Yes, no, but grateful for the things I already have. But I don't like when people say like, basically like being rich won't make you happy, because being rich helps.
Money
helps
gives you so
your
much
life.
freedom.
Yes, money helps you think about therapy. Now I can think about going to therapy. Now I can think about these other things that will fulfill my life. But when you have to worry about how I'm gonna pay the bills, you're always on hustle grind mode,
and so, it messes with you. Because you're in a constant state of worry.
I know.
And if you're a young African, you've gone to school. Most of young Africans do not come from well-to-do families. We come from very humble backgrounds. So your parents have sacrificed everything to educate you. Probably they're looking up to you. Your siblings are looking up to you. So the pressure, you're 23, 24, but the pressure is so much. And then you're getting out there, there's no job. Or maybe you get a job that is paying you very little. There's no room. I don't know, maybe in America it's different, or people see it differently, but there's very little room for gratitude, because all then you see is, why aren't things working out for me? But then when you realize that maybe you're just in the wrong environment, you know, if I am broke but I know that I'm just running from paycheck to paycheck and I need to be more responsible with my money, and I need to maybe advance my education, and then opportunities will come, then that's a different kind of broke, because I can take responsibility and accountability for why things are not going my way. But if I am trying to do everything right and things are still not aligning, then it's hard. Here in Ghana they pay rent for 2 years. So you'll find young men 28, 29, 30, they're still living at home because they do not have a stable source of income. The landlord doesn't care, he wants 2 years of rent. How are you going to move out of home? So you're a 30-year-old man still in the bedroom that you slept in when you're 13 or 14, and you're eating the food that your parents have. It messes with you so badly, that thing that people say Ghana is so peaceful. You don't see it, you don't feel it, because the chaos that are going on in your life and in your mind cannot allow you to see that. And these are the people who, when they go abroad, then they find that peace, because their chaos was different from the peace that Ghana offers. Their chaos were as a result of they just needed an opportunity so that they can set their life in order. And sometimes I feel like the people who are coming here, their chaos are from the surrounding of people constantly reminding you that you're not good enough, you're not black enough, you're not white enough, you're not light enough, you'll never be good enough irrespective of what you do. The system will protect you, but just not enough. And then when you come here, you realize that the peace that we're offering you is nobody actually cares.
Yeah, and I noticed that too. Like, we're searching for something, and then people on the continent, or Ghanaians specifically, are searching for something. I don't think either is more or less, you know what I mean? But I think we're just searching for different things. You know what I mean?
It's so funny. It's what you have, somebody else is in desperate need of it. You know? And sometimes,
and vice versa.
And vice versa. And sometimes it might make you want to feel like, but why am I? When you understand that people's journeys are very different, then it begins to make a lot of sense to you. So for me, I know that Ghana is not necessarily the last stop. What I was looking for, I have found. I think the lesson that I needed to learn, I have learned it, which is failure is not fatal and success is not final. It never ends. It never ends. You become business editor, then you want to be more, then you want to be more. It never ends. So when you accept that it's a journey, then you learn to incorporate all the other aspects of life into the journey, because you know there's no final destination. No matter how hard you work yourself, you won't stop. Elon Musk still goes to work every single day. One of the richest people in the world.
So you gotta take breaks. You gotta take rest.
So you have to incorporate life into whatever it is that you think that you're chasing. And I've been taught that here, you know, I've been taught that it's okay not to have everything you want. Other things can still fill that void and make you feel like you're good enough, like you're valued, like you're loved, you know. And so, you know, in Kenya, when things are going really hard for you, people begin going into very dark places, struggling with mental health, committing even suicide, you know. But here, it's like the family still shows you that you're valued, irrespective of what you bring on the table.
Family oriented here. That's one thing I appreciate.
And so I have learned that irrespective whether I'm successful or not, just me being a person is enough.
Exactly.
And I need to surround myself with people that see the value. So I know that this year or next year I could be exiting.
Okay, she said it, y'all. Either this year or next year. Okay, so where do you, because I do want to kind of go back to Kenya, and you know, like, what was it like growing up in Kenya? What is Kenya like? So if you could speak a little bit on Kenya and maybe like your favorite things about being from Kenya.
Oh, okay. Growing up in Kenya, it wasn't bad. It was really nice. You know, it was really nice. I didn't enjoy the first part of my childhood because a lot was happening in the home. There were a lot of changes, and my parents were like trying, just the constant chase, trying to hustle, provide, and you're always worried about how the future will look like. And also when you grow up in Nairobi, there's that constant chase. You're so young, but people putting the stakes on your life on you
early.
Yes, you're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you're being told you have to study to pass. If you don't pass, your life is done. You have to get into a good school unless your life is done. And that's so much pressure to put on like a 12-year-old. I just want to go play with my friends. I want to watch cartoon and stuff like that. So it robs you. Many kids have been robbed off of their childhood because your parents are just like, and it comes from a place where they want the best for you, and they're also afraid, the fear of the unknown. They'd rather know that they did the best that they could with what they had for you.
Pushed you.
But when I went to high school and I was living with my mom and I went to the village, it's different.
Oh, it's peaceful.
Yes, and I was then able to be a child. You can play, you can, and my mom is a strong believer of balance. She'll allow you to play, then when it's time to study, she'll allow you to study, and just supporting you. And also life was a little bit toned. The pressure of Nairobi and making it and all wasn't there. Then after high school, I went back to Nairobi, back to the constant chase. You're 17, you're trying to figure out, you're trying to hustle, get a job, you're trying to figure out your career. It's just, it's very chaotic. Then I went to uni, which was also another chaotic time of my life, because again, in uni, you're taught, get good grades so that you can get a job immediately after uni. Then after uni, I got a job. During the job, you're working so hard so that you can get promoted. Or so for me, I think my life was tunnel vision. What's next?
What's next? Not enjoying
what's next? Exactly. And so many things slipped out of my hand. So my brother is done with high school, and he was about to fall in the same rat race. And I told him, I sent him a really long voice note of about 5 minutes, and I said to him, you're 17. You will never be 17 again. Trust you me, when you go to uni, we start treating you as a young adult. So this is the last time you have to be a child. Listen, watch TV, ask for data money. I'm not saying be a couch potato. I'm saying be a child. Stop thinking about a job. You have the rest of your life to think about a job.
Woo!
Now all you can think about is, what do you want to do? What trajectory do you want maybe your career to take? What schools do you want? Why do you want those schools? Who are the people you want to meet? Use this period to just be a child, because it's the last phase of childhood that you'll have. And if it slips through your finger, you have the rest of your life to be an adult. Trust you me. And when you're adulting, you look back and you'll regret of all the times that you did not take it to be a child, you know. So that was more like it. But now many young people are beginning to say, hey, wait, what am I chasing? You know, when you realize that you have to pay $50 to see a therapist for every session, that's so expensive.
You're they like, charge in dollars.
I've just translated it because of your audience. It's 5,000 Kenya shillings, but that's about $50.
Wow.
So if you're to pay that, then you sit back and you ask yourself, is it really worth it to compromise my mental health chasing something that I will never get? So now people are beginning to slow down and say, listen, to redefine success on their own terms and to only surround themselves with people that make them feel good. Cut out the noise. People are cutting out their family members, because sometimes the people that hurt you the most are the people closest to you.
Wait, so you mentioned therapy. Is that actually a thing in the Kenyan community? Because $50 seems like a lot.
It is. There are,
or is that like a luxury?
Yeah, there are certain people that charge a little lesser, but that's the benchmark rate, and it still is a luxury, because if you're to choose between eating and therapy, you're gonna choose to eat. But then again, will you live in this dark state constantly where your mind is trying to kill you? Before I knew I had depression, I was just like, why am I so sad? Like, why am I so sad? Everybody around me is so happy. You know, they're even looking at me wondering, what's wrong with me? You have a job, you have a family, you're saving a lot of money, you're getting gigs, what's wrong with you? And I would even ask myself, what is wrong with you? You know, just the other day when I was reading Janet McCarthy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, and then I realized, dude, I had bulimia and nobody knew. I couldn't keep anything in my body. I would purge every time I ate. And everybody was like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And they were like, oh, she just does. So many of these things go undiagnosed. You know?
Because it's like you'll be okay, and it's not talked about.
And I'm unable to sleep, and you're in a constant state of worry. And I didn't know that is called anxiety. It's a disease. You're sick. You need help. And so when you finally get somebody who can help you or put a name to what you're struggling with, sometimes, no matter how painful or how costly it is, you will pay. So that sometimes it's just to validate how you're feeling. So now I know that I'm not sad. I know that I suffered from depression. I wasn't sad, I was sick, and that helps me a lot, because every time I begin to feel like that, I can acknowledge that I am sick. I'm not okay, instead of just trying to snap out of it and be okay. So
just like a physical sickness, like a cold, is similar.
So I think young people are beginning to see the value of it. They try as much as they can, but again, at the end of the day, if you have to choose between food and therapy, you're gonna choose food. But when push comes to shove, or when you can save some money, then you choose to take care of yourself, because like it or not, these are things, I think mental health issues have always existed, but we always swept it under the rug and pretended like it's not happening. You know, people saw terrible things when they were growing up. They saw their fathers abuse their mother. People have been abused in their homes, and either we normalize it and continue with the trend, or you're just quiet and you don't talk about it. I don't know if it happens in America, but I know in Kenya we have those aunties that never get married and never have kids, and they always drink alcohol. You know, and they're so flashy.
Like, a lot of stuff that you see happen here, to some degree it happens
in
the States.
And we used to think, what's wrong with this auntie? That is the auntie that was damaged the most by what they saw growing up. And they said, I'm never gonna get married. If this is what marriage is, I don't want it. They've seen how their parents struggle with kids. They've seen how your parents are struggling with you, and they say, if that's what parenthood is about, I don't want it. You know, and because they don't know how to seek help or something, they drown their sorrows. They know that the church can be a double-edged sword, where it's not being straight with you, so they drown their sorrows in alcohol. You know, and they know that they should take care of themselves, and they look good, and they will look good, and they know how to hide it and mask it. So I think the issues have always been there. Either we don't acknowledge it, or we didn't have the kind of help that we needed then. But now people are beginning to be more open to it. People ask me, why do you talk about it more openly? And they said, if I don't, then another person is going to go through exactly what I went through and think
like they're
that they're wrong. When I was coming today, I was reading Homebody by Rupi Kaur. A friend gifted it to me in 2021 at the height of my depression. I was at rock bottom, and I hadn't like gone through a whole night of sleep.
Wow.
Like I wasn't technically able to sleep. I wasn't eating. I was just floating through life, crying every day and just floating. I don't even know how I did it. And when I read that book, it validated everything that I was going through. I was like, oh my God, it's okay to feel like this, because it's so. Now that I am reading it almost 2 years later, I felt very proud of myself and how hard I've fought to survive, and to not just survive and stay alive, but
you're
to thrive.
Still going. Yeah, you're still going. So what are some differences you've noticed between like Kenyans or Kenya and Ghanaians?
We're not nice, and we mind our own business.
Is it really like New York? Because New Yorkers are kind of rude, they say.
Not necessarily rude, but we mind our business.
Okay.
So nobody will greet you.
Oh, okay. I mean,
you know,
yeah.
And everybody will mind their own business. And obviously, like it's usual when you're a foreigner, somebody will try to take advantage of you. But it's in very isolated instances. But the pace at which it moves, you'll appreciate. You appreciate the customer service.
Go to Kenya.
The beaches are beautiful. You'll have like a good safari experience, you know. But still, there are things that will piss you off. You know, you might be stuck in traffic. You might find some people who are very uncouth. You might get robbed.
Oh no,
it's rough. You have to be on the.
Do you feel like it's safer here in Ghana than Kenya? As far as like
Absolutely.
Oh really?
Absolutely.
Oh really?
Let me tell you something. I can shoot in Accra with my camera like this.
You can't do that in Kenya?
I can't try.
Wow.
Not that I'm sure I'll be robbed, but I don't want to find out.
Okay.
You know. So every place has its pros and cons, but I feel like these are isolated cases. I've lived there all my life. I've been robbed once. My sister's been robbed, I think 2 times or 3 times. But sometimes
I don't ever want to experience. I don't know what I would do. Like, is it robbing with a gun, or is it like a
no? They're
knife,
very
or?
smart. Like you won't know when you're robbed.
Oh,
you'll
don't
just
know.
get home and you realize you
so
don't have your phone.
They pickpocket.
Something like that.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but
that's my fear.
These are very isolated instances. It's just I don't want to like make it so rosy, and then you get there and you're like, Ondero, why didn't you tell me that there's a possibility? Because when you know these things, then you know how to protect yourself. You know
about it.
That's why I'm telling you, like in the CBD, everybody minds their business. Because if you try talking to me, I'll be like, why do you want to talk to me? Do you want to drag me? Are you a thief? You know, everybody is just on alert. Everybody is walking very fast. Everybody is minding their business. But when you walk in a restaurant, they're really nice. You know, because they know that if they're not nice to you, then you won't come back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's so good. If you sit down, a waiter will come help you. In the course of your meal, the manager might even come and ask you, "Are you enjoying your meal? Is there anything else you need?" And these are things that make service really, really good. You know, the people there are a little bit more aggressive. So it means that if you give somebody a job, they're going to try their level best to do it well, because they know there's another person out there who can still do the job. So it has its pros and cons, but it's good to experience also different versions of Africans, so that you know, but we're very different.
I definitely want to experience East Africa. Kenya is actually next on my list.
Oh, nice.
Gotta get my finances up, and then I'm on my way to Kenya, y'all.
I'll help you make an itinerary.
Yes, please, because I think I was trying to plan a trip to Kenya, but I didn't really, and I didn't do much research, but I was like, what is there even to do in Kenya? You know, I don't know anybody there, so, but I definitely want to go. So we're gonna wrap this up. What is your like vision, or do you have a vision for Africa? Like, what do you want to see? It could be Africa in general, or it could be like Ghana or Kenya. Like, what do you want to see in the next like 10 years, or the diaspora? Let's just say the diaspora.
Okay, I feel like the African continent has so much potential.
It does.
And for a long time, it would break my heart why the place is wasting away. But many young people are beginning to wake up. Some are waking up because we've traveled out and we've seen the potential of what this place could be. Because you go to other countries, you see proper infrastructure, healthcare is working, education is working, and people are beginning to ask themselves, I've gone to school, I've done everything right, why isn't this place working for me? And then they're beginning to ask questions that sort of hold leadership to account. Then there are people like you who are coming from the diaspora and also waking us up and saying, listen guys, you're sleeping, pick up the pace. We know your potential as an individual and the potential of this place, it could be more. So that gives me a lot of hope, and I know that in the next 10 or 20 years, the dynamics of politics and leadership and governance and development will gradually begin to change, because young people are realizing that they have a voice, they can vote, They're using tools like social media to advocate for change, you know. So it's a really good thing. And also they're helping themselves. They're saying, we're going to go to school, we're going to do the due diligence, be it businesses, we're going to start businesses and hustle as hard as we can. And even when they can't, when they leave, they still try as much as possible to send money back home, and that money counts for something, you know. So I mean, things are going to change because the people are beginning to say they want change. Yeah,
that's important. And then the final thing is for the people who are trying to come over here, might want to move, what is one final thing you would tell people who want to move to Ghana or move to Kenya or Africa?
Okay, so I think when we were talking earlier on before we began recording, you said something very important. You said extended stays are very important. Don't just come in December and then use that December in Ghana. You were here in December, right? And you're here now. The vibe is different, right? It's just 2 weeks in between, but the vibe is gone. You know, we're back to business.
Back to business.
You know, so if you think that it will be like that forever and you move here for that, then you're going to be disappointed in the second week of January to realize that that is not how it actually is, and that's not how it happens, you know. So do those extended stays, and they teach you a lot. They teach you about the people, they teach you about the place, they teach you about the culture, they teach you about survival. You know what neighborhood works, what neighborhood doesn't. You know which house works, which house doesn't. You know how much you're willing to spend, how much you will need. What you can even gauge the kind of lifestyle that you want. Because if you just come once and do a very short stay, 2 weeks, and you came with $3,000, you will live a good life. And then when you come back to leave, and then you have to cut your budget to $1,500 a month, then you realize that life is very different. You can't go to farmers market anymore. You need to figure out where the market is and all these things, because when you move, it's a huge emotional step, both good and very tasking. And any little thing can aggravate you and make it very, you know, just something as simple as a blackout, which is very normal here, can make you almost book a ticket back home. Because you're like, what is
going on?
Because any small thing, because already you're at, emotionally it's very tasking. It takes a lot from you to leave what you know, to plunge yourself into the unknown. So it's better that you know of all this, many of the eventualities, so that you're better prepared, so that when a blackout comes, they're like, oh, this again. Then you pick up your laptop, you go to a restaurant and work from there, because you're psychologically prepared, and you know that maybe if lights go out at 12, they'll come back at 6, you know, or you know that if lights go out at 6 in the evening, they're not coming back until 1. So probably
go
whatever. You know, so those extended stay will teach you everything that you need to know. Because I can tell you budget and all that stuff. You can budget, but there's inflation.
That is the thing that get me, because 10 cities could be X amount of US dollars one day, the next week it's a X amount, so you have to also budget. That's what I just learned. Like the next time I'm budgeting in cities, not US dollars, because it was throwing me off. So.
And when you're here, then you learn how inflation works. You know what the prices of food will really skyrocket, and you know which foods will skyrocket. So all these things, they teach you these things. So the extended stays are very important. Come in December, have your fun. Come back in May, stay for like another 2 weeks. Come back in maybe September, stay for a month. Then you gauge. And let me tell you, people are very ashamed and embarrassed to pack up and go back. There's nothing wrong with it. If it's not working, it's not working. And it might not work this time round, but you can go back, plan, save enough, and when you come back equipped with knowledge and information. I know of a lady that I interviewed on my channel. They came from the Netherlands to Ghana, and they were very hopeful. She's also Ghanaian. She's mixed race, and they were very hopeful, and they tried everything that they could, but it wasn't working, and they went back, and people were sort of shaming them. But I can understand where she was coming from. If it's not working and she has kids,
what am I supposed to do? Just sit there and let it not work?
If I can't get the type of education that I want for my children, and the housing is so expensive, and the service is getting to me, and all these things, then I'd rather go back, save up, regroup, and then when I come back, then I know that these are my reducible minimums, I can deal with this. Or then it can be like, we'll have a house, we'll be spending summer vacation so that the kids can stay in touch with their roots and know who they are, but then I'm not willing to compromise on their education. You know, I know so many people who they work 6 months in America, and then the last 6 months they spend here. So do not be ashamed or embarrassed or hesitate to make a Ghana plan that works for you. You know, my Ghana plan initially I thought was gonna be forever, but now it's turned into 2 or maybe 3 years, and then I move to the next thing. But we'll always have a house here, and we'll come back. So let your relocation plan just be tailor-made to suit what you need.
Yes, girl. Yes, that was so good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming on my channel. Before we leave, can you just tell them where they can find you on socials?
Okay guys, so I'm on Ondiro Oganga on social media, though I've taken a 6-month sabbatical. So I'm not on there.
On Instagram.
On Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. But I'm still making videos on YouTube. It's Ondiro Oganga. Please go watch my videos. I talk to people who've relocated to Ghana to get their experience and also just validate some of the things that they are feeling and create a sense of community where people who relocate here do not feel alone. They feel seen, they feel heard, and they feel like they're people who can relate with everything that they are going through. So Ondiro Oganga on YouTube. I'll see you there.
I will put it in the description box, y'all. And on that note, if you made it this far, you are family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notification bell so you are the first to know when I drop the next video. And yes, love y'all. Bye.